Hello guys, welcome to the stream. Right, I think that audio might sound a bit odd, so I'll just check it again. Right, now I think my microphone might actually be slightly broken. I don't know, what I usually do, so my microphone does tend to make some slightly funny noises, and what I do is basically unplug it and then plug it back in again, and I do that again, and usually, right, yeah, now I think usually that makes the audio sound okay, but it doesn't sound very good. Right, I'll try that now. Sadly, I think this might mean I have to restart X-Plane 11. Makes the audio sound okay, but it doesn't sound very good. So yeah. So I've just plugged out my headphones and plugged them back in again. Right, I'll try that now. Sadly, I think this might mean I have to restart. Okay, my microphone's okay now. Bit weird. I've always unplugged it and plugged it back in again. I've always done that twice, but weirdly today it seems like 3 times is how often I needed to have done it to get my microphone working. So that's a bit annoying, because it does mean now that I think I have to restart X-Plane, which is a little bit annoying. I don't think there's a way I can... No, I don't think there is a way I can reset the sound for X-Plane. I think I have to literally restart the computer... No, restart the actual sim. That's really annoying. Oh well, okay, so it looks like I'm going to have to restart the sim. So I'm just going to put it up to this screen for now. Yeah, that's really annoying, because X-Plane takes about 4 minutes to load, and it was already up and ready to go, and then my microphone decides not to work, so I don't know. It's a bit weird that my microphone always does that, but as I said, usually it's fine after unplugging it and plugging it back in again twice. But today it obviously needed 3 tries. Hopefully it isn't getting worse, but well, I'll see about that. Again, X-Plane does actually take quite a while to load, unfortunately, so might have to wait a bit. I mean, X-Plane's already loaded into the weather. Luckily, it saved all the presets that I saved. I mean, it won't have saved the aircraft state though. Right, I'm going to start it again now, and loading into sim. This should take... I don't know, hopefully it'll be a bit quicker this time, because it's the second time I'm loading it up. If you're loading it up, like, for the second time since computer start, it's a bit quicker than the first time. But, no mind. Hopefully, I don't know, hopefully I'll get some new headphones soon or something. That'll be nice. They're a bit old, these ones, and they've had that mic issue pretty much always, I think. Because it can't be good for the USB unplugging it and plugging it back in again like 2 or 3 times a day. So hopefully it decides to get better. I don't even know what happens. It's like weird, like robotic quality to the mic. I have no idea why it does it. It's weird, but it doesn't matter. Right, yeah, just wait on X-Plane to load. As I said, this will probably take a good 2 minutes, which is why I loaded up before the stream starts. But hey, Anyway, I may as well actually tell you guys what we're doing today, since I can't do anything. Like, you can't click on any windows while X-Plane is loading, otherwise the game crashes. So, we're going to be flying from Fort Lauderdale down to Cancun in Mexico with the A320. It's a flight supposed to be flown with the A320neo, but Fly UK have a fleet swap policy where you can use the regular A320 rather than the neo, and it's absolutely fine. So taking that, and it's with MetroAir, which is the Fly UK Codeshare partner. So the reason we're doing this is Fly UK recently redid all their code shares, and there's now a lot of flights. I think there's about 18 destinations out of Fort Lauderdale in the 737, 757 and A320. So we're going to be flying those quite a bit in the next couple of weeks, because Fort Lauderdale is a really nice airport. I mean, the only downside of flying in the US is it's dark at this time of day, but that doesn't really matter, does it? Right, we're going to go ahead and get the jetway connected up, and we're going to go back outside and going to get everything set up again. This shouldn't take too long. I'm just going to get ground handling up, which is the Jar Design Ground Handling Deluxe. Really cool little add-on. It was only $15. I thought it'd be a bit more than that. I thought it used to be $30. Maybe they put the price down, or maybe I just remembered it wrong. But we're going to go ahead and get all the ground crew up to the aircraft. Just makes it a bit more realistic, really. It's a bit like GSX. It's not quite as detailed as GSX, but it does the same kind of job. And we can go ahead and start the flight up with Fly UK again. I'll go ahead and connect myself to Vatsim again. And there we go. Excellent. We're all ready to go. So we're going to go ahead and bring it back onto this screen. Excellent. You guys can now see what's going on. And it does look okay, which is good. So there we are. And hopefully my mic is okay, which I will just test. Excellent, we're all ready to go. Yes, my mic sounds okay. So let's go ahead and actually get into the flight today then. So, we're going to go into the aircraft, get the ground power and the chocks set. And, obviously it's a very dark A320 here. Just make sure the speed brakes are set to 0. They spawn in at half. Don't know why they do that. They just do. And I'll go ahead and get the external power on and the battery switches on. And everything will fire up now inside the aircraft. And we'll let that happen. Meanwhile, I'm just going to grab the weather here in Fort Lauderdale. It is 150 knots, so we're going to be doing a runway 10 left departure today. And the altimeter, okay, it's actually a few clouds at 3,200, so pretty nice, 23 degrees. And the altimeter is 29905, so we'll go ahead and set that. And we just need to wait for everything to fire up now. We're going to go ahead and get this on the init page. And we're going from KFLL down to MMUN, Cancun. There you go. That accepts it. And we want to go ahead and align the IRSs. So we'll go that one, then the right one, and then the centre one. There you go, they're all aligning now. And you can see what we'll do is head to IRS init, and then we'll wait for the GPS positions to appear. And then we can say align on reference once it's all ready. Meanwhile, we'll go up to the top of the aircraft, get that set to captain and purrs, crew supply for oxygen, come on, and cargo heats that can get those set up and get the heat there set up. On the emergency lights, seatbelt signs, no smoking signs on, nav and logo lights can come on, strobe light is good at auto. That's that for now. There you go, we'll align these on reference and confirm. I don't know, I can't actually, why can't I align them from the GPS position? It always says align on reference. Well, we'll just do that. And you can see they're now aligning on our reference there. So you can see that's all set up and ready to go. Flight number today is Metro. So just miss Metro for MetroAir. Metro 613. Cost index is 25. Cruising today at flight level 340. And let's get the route set in today now. So the route is... Actually, you know what? Before we do that, I'm going to do all the weights for today's fuel. Get all these set to gate so that the stairs don't pop in when we open the doors for the ground crew. The baggage loaders, we will have duplicated baggage loaders, but you can barely see that they're there. It's just so that the Jar Design ground handling actually works properly. Although they don't appear to actually be loading anything onto the aircraft. Oh, that's because I haven't loaded in There, we'll just respawn them. There we go. And then they should start loading baggage. Cool. So today we're looking for a fuel level of 7,600 kilos. It's not quite in with the Fly UK alternate. We're using MMCZ, which is different to what Simbrief. I need to remember. I always forget to set the weights. No, to set the alternate in Simbrief to what Fly UK used to get the accurate fuel. Because Simbrief sometimes plans an alternate that is miles away, and then you end up taking far too much fuel. Oh well. And we're looking today for a takeoff weight of 66.6. So basically just going to keep loading up the fuel. So 66 points, no, sorry, not takeoff weight, zero fuel weight of 59.2. So we're going to take 1,100 out of this. There we go, set that. And you can see in the performance data it now says zero fuel weight is 59.2. So that's perfect. And we'll go ahead and set that. Right. So departing out of Fort Lauderdale, it's going to be runway 10 left with no departure. No departure today, so 10 left, and after 10 left, we're basically going to climb on runway heading to about 3,000 feet, and then we're going to go direct to M8. That's our first waypoint. So that's the plan for today. From M8, it is direct to Lulls, and then it's on an airway Y196 to Kanoa, and then it's going to be UB879er, and we're taking that to NOSAT, and that is the route. It's about an hour and a half flight today, so not the longest, not too bad. In terms of the arrival, we're going to be doing an ILS 1, runway 12, ILS 4, runway 12, that's that one there, with the NOSAT 1 Bravo arrival. Is that there? I can't see it. There it is, NOSAT 1 Bravo, and the arrival transition is going to be redug. So there we go, that's in there, insert that, excellent, and let's get the performance done now. You can see it's already calculated the V-speeds for us. I just like to subtract 4 from the VR to get the V1, I don't think it matters that much. Now, the trim value is going to be up 0.4, so 1/up 0.4, and flex is about 45, it's pretty good in this aircraft. It's a 9,000 foot runway here in Fort Lauderdale, so good. Okay, that's everything set up then. What I'm going to go ahead and do now is head to init and then wind request, and that'll put in all the winds for today's flight. Well, hopefully it'll put in the winds at cruise eventually. I think it's still finding them, is it? There you go, it's got them now. So you can see that's in there now. It now knows how long our flight's going to take. And going to the second page of the init, you can see it's already put everything in there for us, which is good. Estimated flight time today is 1 hour and 34 minutes. Oh, little sneeze. Yeah, so 1 hour and 34 minutes is estimated flight time. It's supposed to be an hour and 28. So, who knows on that one. Right, okay, let's actually get the plane ready to depart then. So we can go ahead and get the APU firing up. And the fuel pumps can come on. See, all the lights are ready inside the cockpit. Right, okay, get the TCAS set to 2000. Weather radar can come on with tilt set to +2. Make sure this is on auto, and then we can just put this to all and TARA, and then as soon as we end up in the air, the aircraft will just flick on the transponder for us, which is good. We'll just check our route. You can see the plane here is already calculated. We're going to go to 1,500 feet, it says, and then make our right turn. I'm going to go to 3,000, start the APU. But yeah, I'm going to go to 3,000 and then make the turn. And you can see there go. It's got our route planned in then. And then the arrival, heading into the airport like that. So it's a nice simple arrival. everything's ready to go. Get the constraints on here and make sure that's set to cruise altitude 34,000 feet. Flight directors are on and ready. All the brakes will get set to max. We can go ahead and on the ground spoilers, and we're going to go ahead and plug in. It's better pushback.
Ground to cockpit.
Start pushback, and it's already saved our pushback. But last time I did a previously saved pushback, it ended badly with better pushback, like twirling you around in circles. So it's always a good idea to delete the plan first. So now we're done with that, and we're on APU power and APU bleed. We can go ahead and turn off the external power, and we can go ahead and remove all of the ground handling. And the chocks don't really do anything anyway, so we'll remove, because ground handling, jar design, it likes it if you have the parking brake set, and it doesn't respond to the chocks that are set with the aircraft. Right, tuning ourselves onto Unicom. And that is it. That is us ready for departure. Pretty quick, actually. 16 minutes in. The IRSs do align quite quickly in this thing because I've set the IRS alignment speed to ×10. The reason I've done that is just so we can get off the ground a bit sooner.
All doors and hatches
I might turn that off though. I don't know. It didn't seem to be working before, but I think it does work now. I don't know. I updated the dial design and they did fix a few bugs, so maybe that was one of them. Right, beacon light can come on now as well. And we can go ahead and disconnect the jetway. Ready for pushback. We are the only plane on the ground here in Fort Lauderdale. There is a plane on its way down here, but it's miles away. So it's, where is the plane? Wow, there's a plane heading for Fort Lauderdale. It's actually another MetroAir heading in from Seattle, but it's currently 900 miles away, so not an issue for us.
Tow connected and bypass pin inserted. Release parking brakes.
Right, release parking brakes. I can go into engine start mode.
Pushback, and you may start engines.
Okay, engine 2 can be started. Everything's looking good at the top there. And the engines are starting. There we go, pushback. Literally 18 minutes after starting the stream, despite those technical difficulties. So that's pretty good. I'm a fan of that. Didn't take as long at all to get this aircraft prepped and pushed. So back we go from the very dark terminal of Fort Lauderdale. It'll still be dark by the time we get to Cancun. That's kind of how it is. It's dark over in America right now in real life, so it's dark in the sim. Although you do get these lovely lights and things, so it's not all completely dark. We'll be flying over the ocean though for a large portion of this flight, and that will be completely dark. So, not a lot to look at, but oh well. Right, looks like engine number 2 is basically fired up. I know there is a specific order it's supposed to start the engines up in. I don't actually know what that is, whether it's engine 1 first or engine 2 first. Right, this is on the pre-flight page. You can see that 340 we're cruising out. That was what Simply said had the optimum wind. Now, Explain Live Weather is back up and working today. I had a couple of issues with it after it got fixed. With the crosswind, it was basically setting all winds to have a maximum wind shear and maximum gusts, which are basically unflyable conditions. So, but that seems to have been fixed now, luckily. So that's good. It means Explain Live Weather is up and running yet again. I'm actually going to put it in heading mode for the departure out.
Operation complete. Go ahead and set the parking brake.
Okay, set parking brakes. Runway heading is 096.
Stand by.
Okay, it's not wanting me to put it in heading mode. I guess that puts it in heading mode, doing that. But then pushing it down. Who knows, hopefully that puts it in heading mode. Because we're going to climb to about 3,000, because there is a Fort Lauderdale 7 departure that basically says what we're doing. It actually has one of the waypoints we're doing listed on it. It's basically climb to 3,000, and then in real life you get vectors to your chosen waypoint. Right, that engine selector can go over to normal. APU bleed can come off. APU can come off. Taxi light can come on, and that's that. And you see this has gone into
Tow
heavy
is
mode.
disconnected and bypass bin has been removed. Hand signal on the right. We'll see you next time. And
Why
have
is
a
it
safe
saying?
flight.
Why is it saying we're at negative altitude? I will just check. The MetroAir has not updated. It's still saying the altimeter is 29,905. But this is saying we're at negative altitude. Just check. Is live weather working? It's saying the altitude is 29,908 according to X-Plane live weather. I'm going to be sticking with 29,905 obviously, but that does mean that it thinks we're at, it thinks we're at minus on the altitude. Right, flaps 1 can be set now, and we'll just wait for those. Yep, takeoff config now. Oh, it's still waiting for the flaps to be set. There they are. Okay, still cross. There. So takeoff check, you can see there. We're all good now. The cabin check, I don't actually know how to do that. I've tried pressing the cabin buttons up here, wherever they are. They're somewhere. There they are, calls. And I've tried pressing those and it doesn't do anything. So who knows? It calls the cabin crew. It doesn't inform the cabin crew of anything. It just calls them. Right, off we go then. To the runway. We're going to be taxiing straight ahead on Tango 3 and then all the way down on Bravo and then onto the runway at Bravo. It's Bravo 3, I think, or Bravo... I think it's Bravo 3, but it's designated as Bravo 1 in the scenery. I don't know why. I think in the scenery you can't go beyond that point in the runway for takeoff, but on the chart it says you can, so maybe it's slightly out-of-date scenery, I don't know. When you say that this airport was last changed November 20, although nothing changed drastically then. It just notes according to the chart was all that changed then. I'm going to make a left turn onto Bravo, which is this one. If you go, it's really tricky that. You think maybe that's Bravo, but no, that leads you onto the runway, taking that taxiway. So you don't want to take that taxiway. I mean, it's quite a long taxi here now. And you know what? I'm going to follow the plane's navigation instructions, because according to the Fort Lauderdale 7 departure, what I'm going to do, though, is modify this waypoint so that it's above 3,000. Actually, no, what I'm going to do, can I create a new waypoint called 3,000? Or will it not recognise that? It won't recognise that. Okay, I think waypoints like that have to be put in by the plane. Waypoints like a certain height, turn, whatever. So we'll just listen to the plane saying we should start the turn at 1510 rather than a bit more like 3,000. Also, it didn't say turn at 3,000. It said the top altitude was 3,000. So until you get vectors, you would be stuck at 3,000. Is what it actually said. Plane's taxiing pretty quickly today. I've idled it, and it's still managing like 24 knots. You can see the lights of Fort Lauderdale and Miami around us. Because this airport is, I don't know, I mean, I think Fort Lauderdale is actually a place on its own, but it's extremely close to Miami. Like, they kind of merge. So actually very close to Miami International here. But I think Fort Lauderdale does a lot more of the smaller planes, and then Miami does a lot of the bigger flights. Bigger aircraft. There's no planes in the area right now though, nothing near us. We'll just set our pitch trim actually. Haven't done that yet. And what's it doing? Well, the pitch. Oh, the pitch. Okay, I don't know what's gone on there. The pitch. What on earth? I must have accidentally clicked something. My mouse was being funny then. Right, I'm just gonna stop the aircraft. Why is one of the engines gone into reverser? There. Okay, that's fixed that. I think I was trying to move the trim wheel. Oh, yeah, okay. I was trying to move the trim wheel, and I accidentally moved the reversers. I need to map a button, actually, I think, to the pitch trim. I'll do that. Because it's something that is probably quite a good idea to have mapped as a button, because you use it every flight. So obviously, yeah. Right, taxiing up to Bravo 3, although I think it's designated Bravo 1 in the scenery, because those taxiways up there, look, I think they maybe exist, I don't know. But yeah, the runway entry at this on this scenery is slightly different. I'm going to make a right turn onto the runway now, landing lights on, and all the takeoff lights on. Gives the aircraft a bit more power actually, so it can get onto the runway a bit quicker, there we go. No need to notify Unicom because there's no one here. There's the runway alert system on the A320 working well. XRAAS, I think it's called.
On runway 10 left.
And you can install it on the Zebo actually. I don't quite know how you do that, but you can get it on the Zebo. Right. Power set to about 40%. Start the clock, and flex is set on throttle, and we've got SRS and runway, and off we go. Airspeed's live. There's 100 knots. And V1 will rotate. There we go, off the runway in a good amount of time. Flying an Airbus with a yoke is absolutely fine, rather than flying a Boeing with a joystick. That really doesn't work. Right, gear up. And we're climbing out now. And we're going to go, we're going to reduce the engine power at around about 1,500 feet. There we are. Take that as a nice screenshot, looks lovely. And then there is 1,500 feet, so we'll go ahead and reduce to climb power now, and we're going to start that right turn. So pretend we've got vectors to innate, or something like that. Go ahead and start the right turn. What we're going to do, I'm going to go ahead and click direct to innate now, and we're going to go ahead and put that in. And flaps up. Go manual speed. No, go automatic speed, I mean. Disarm the ground spoilers, all the takeoff lights can go off now. Increase the range on here so we can actually see what we're doing. And there we are out of Fort Lauderdale, climbing up towards our first waypoint for today, because there was no SID obviously. All the SIDs in Fort Lauderdale, they only go north and east. There's none that go south or west, really. Definitely not south, anyway. Okay, actually, yeah, there's a few that go west. They go northwest. But if you're going southwest or south, then there's no SIDs out of Fort Lauderdale. And there's Miami International, so we need to just basically make sure, I think, that we're quite high above that. There's no aircraft there at the moment anyway in Vatsim. We're the only plane at the moment heading for Cancun as well, so we have that to ourselves. There you go, passing 6,000. This thing will do a very slow climb once we get closer to cruise altitude, so will be nice to have a bit of a quicker climb right now. So this thing does do a proper Airbus climb. As soon as it gets to about like 32,000 feet, it starts climbing at like less than 1,000 feet per minute. It's crazy. And there we are, nicely in the air. And the weather in Cancun, just having a look, is looking pretty perfect for a runway 12. We're using 12 right, I think. 26 degrees down there. Clouds are broken at 1,500 though, so a little bit cloudy, but not too bad. It's got 7 miles visibility. Right, passing 10,000. Landing lights off. We'll wait until about... Actually, we can turn the seatbelt signs off now as well, I guess. I mean, sometimes normally I'd wait until about 18,000 in the US, but since we've got no sharp turns ahead or anything, we are fine to just let people roam around, so I'll do that. Put this back on flight plan mode now. Little weather update there, I think, maybe. We're pretty high up though, so avoiding Miami International. That's just down there, and there's another big airport over there. There's a lot of big airports in this area there, clearly. What's that other big airport? I didn't know there was another one round here. Lindbergh, I think. Miami Lindbergh is a it's marked in green, which is like a big airport. No, actually it isn't, never mind. I don't know, I don't see any other massive airports. There's no other... Oh, actually, it could be Miami Executive. It could be Miami Executive, I think. That has a 6,000 foot runway. So it probably is. It's probably Miami Executive. You do notice waypoint. You do notice airports a lot more when it's dark because they have the runway lights. Obviously, it's very dark outside. Can't really see anything. And it won't get light today on our flight. I mean, time in Cancun right now is, because it'll actually be getting darker, I think, as we go. It's 3:32 AM right now. And in Fort Lauderdale, it's 4:32, so we're actually going back in time. So it'll be about 5 AM when we get to Cancun. And then I'm going to look up sunrise, which is just rough. It's about 6:30, so it's going to be pretty dark when we get there. It's definitely not going to be light. Hello. Oh, I hadn't seen the chat actually. I hate that bug with YouTube. I loaded my stream up on my phone before it started, and even though I put it on live chat, it still didn't display the chat to me. Yeah, I hope everyone's enjoying the stream. Even though, I don't know, I mean, how do you guys like night flights? Obviously they're quite dark, so you can't see quite as much, I guess. Hello in the chat. Hope you're enjoying the stream. Oh, passing 18,000. We'll go ahead and go standard pressure on there. Yeah, there's a few lights from like towns in the area, but there's really not a lot out. There's no one else on Vatsim in the area, so it's generally quite quiet in the US this time in the morning. Tomorrow we'll be doing another stream though, and more flying. But we'll be going from Gatwick to Leipzig, so we should get some ATC on that flight. Right now over in the UK, there is ground online in Gatwick, but nothing else, but it's better than nothing, that. Yeah, it's a shame. I quite like doing flights in the morning, that's just the time that I like doing them, but generally no one else does flights early in the morning. and there's generally not much ATC about. Unless you're flying like Asia. Asia is, because it's like evening for them, there actually tends to be quite a bit. Although there's not an awful lot right now. I mean, Singapore's online, and there's a bit in Thailand, Vietnam. There's a decent bit of ATC around there. Yeah, this thing will take a while to cruise. You can see there's our little marker saying where we're going to reach cruise altitude, and it will take us a good bit of time. I mean, 60 miles to do 12,000 feet. If I can put this on the performance page, you can see that's actually says 76 miles to get to cruise. And once we're at cruise, I'm going to refresh the winds in the MCDU, and then once we've done that, we'll put in all of the arrival stuff for Cancun. But yeah, I haven't been flying the A320 an awful lot in X-Plane lately. I wanted to do a stream on the 767 this weekend, but I thought, you know, I actually quite want to do the A320. I will do a flight with the 767 at some point, but the shortest flight we can do with it is about 1,000 miles, so I'll wait until I feel like doing slightly shorter flights at the moment, more like an hour and a half. I've done a lot of quite long flights lately, so we've still got 480 miles to go. We should be touching down in about an hour and 20 minutes, a little bit longer than that it'll be. Well, coming from our first waypoint at Nate, I don't know how you say it, something like that. And then it's a pretty much direct route then over the ocean. Well, we might see the edge of Cuba, although it'll just be lights. It won't actually be anything interesting because it's so dark. So it is kind of nice doing these flights during the day, but I like doing them real time. So you kind of have to have them like this. Got a bit of a headwind at the moment. We will have a bit of a headwind basically all flight, so that's a little bit annoying. And we'll just be checking the winds actually. We're not at cruise just yet. At Nate, the winds that it would have got are for 29,000. We're at 27, so that's okay. The expected winds were 264 at 041. Okay, so unfortunately it looks like, yet again, possibly that would be a bit disappointing if it's done that, but that looks as though maybe the winds are a bit wrong again. I am seriously considering switching to Active Sky for XP, because I actually discovered you can get it on 2 computers, because the licenses are actually done per account now rather than computer, which were done It was per computer with FSX, but it's not like that for X-Plane. It's per account that you pay for. So it depends on what we end up with. I may, because X-Plane Live Weather, even when it's working, it's not always the most accurate, and it takes a lot longer to refresh than Active Sky Live Weather does. So maybe I'll have to leave. Maybe I'll get X-Plane for, like, Active Sky for XP, because it's actually only about, I think it's £30, which is not too bad. I think it's like 32 on just flight, so it's not bad. And considering I'd have to buy it twice, like I would with the others, it's good. Right, crossing through flight level 290 now, so you can see this thing has started doing its really slow climb. I mean, this is only on cost index 25. I mean, if you have a higher cost index, it tries to climb at a higher speed, which means it's even slower. So it's kind of crazy how slow this thing... I mean, we could have been going up to like 38,000 today. Simbrief just planned 34, because that's what it thought, because when it plans a lower altitude than needed, Simbrief always leaves a little remark in the dispatch remark saying planned optimum flight level. So that basically means you could have gone higher, but we planned lower because it's quicker, or it saves fuel, or whatever. So right now the winds are actually roughly what the weather chart said they were, so I think it's actually okay. At Lulz, the weather was supposed to be... where is it? 255 at 056. Okay, so it's still not totally accurate, although weirdly, the weather chart is saying something different. It is saying pretty much... Actually, yeah, okay. I think... Yeah, the direction on the weather is slightly wrong, but the speed is pretty much perfect, and by the time we get to Lulz, maybe that will have changed. So the X-Plane Live weather is not always the most accurate, but it's just generally pretty good when it works. So that's the problem I've had the last couple of weeks, is just with it not working. I think the people who provide the weather for X-Plane Live weather, their service went down for about a week. Thankfully they did fix that, which is nice. Yeah, you can see there, the wind direction is actually pretty much perfect now, so X-Plane Live weather's not too bad. So we were expecting a lot of headwind on this flight versus 555 miles. 550 miles is what we're actually flying. 610 is how long it will take us because of the wind. So the wind is adding on an effective extra 60 miles to our route versus if it was calm. Well, I'm going to go ahead and put what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to go... Actually, I'll wait till we're at cruise to put in the winds for... I like to refresh the winds once we're at cruise, just because it might have got the calculations a bit wrong, or... It's always good to refresh it, get a more accurate ETA then, for the cruise. Cool, so you can actually view all the different, like, IRSs. Right, there you go. Approaching our top of climb now after about 18 minutes. So not too long. 19 minutes it'll probably be by the time we finally level off. And then we'll be at cruise for, I don't know, it won't be too long because it's quite a short flight. It'll probably be about 45 minutes maybe, I suspect. So descending about 10:30, no, half 9 Zulu it will be, half 9. No ATC sadly, but that's kind of expected really. That just happens, that's how it is. And we should see Cuba off to the left, hopefully. When we get close to the waypoint Canoa, that's where we'll be closest to Cuba, but I don't know how close that is. Might not be within range of being able to see it. And that's assuming it's lit up. If it's not lit up, we definitely won't be able to see it. I don't really know how I explain decides if areas are lit up or not. Must have some way of doing it. You can see descent is about half 9 Zulu, so about 45 minutes from now. Let's go ahead and refresh the wind then. Make sure we're not near a waypoint because it takes a bit of time to refresh the wind. So wind request, and we won't insert it until it has actually updated. There you go, it's updated, so I'm going to go ahead and insert it again. And then as you can see there, we've got a more accurate ETA now. It's actually moved our cruise 2 minutes closer, our ETA for cruise. And if we look at our second page, our second page on our init is now just a fuel prediction. Okay. So we go to flight plan, and then there you go. Heading, just click on the performance button, and you can see there approach. Let's go ahead and put in our data to the. We will actually have a new lot of weather for Cancun in quite soon because this weather's from an hour ago. So in about 15 minutes we should have some new weather. But I'll put in what's here at the moment. It's 29.86 for the altimeter. Temperature is 26 degrees. I'm guessing that's in Celsius, although I did always think it was quite warm. It's like half 3 a.m. in summer. No, spring I mean. 3 a.m. in spring. It does seem a little bit hot. 26 degrees, although it is quite far south, isn't it? So it could potentially be 26. It is in fact 26 degrees. Wow. That is warm. And the winds are 130 at 9 knots. Transition altitude is apparently 20,000 feet. That's quite a high up transition altitude. I'll get all the charts up for Cancun now. We may as well. In terms of parking spots, I don't know where we're actually planning on parking. I don't know whether there is any. It'll probably be Terminal 2 or Terminal 3. You know what, I'll take. There you go. Commercial Apron is Terminal 3. Yeah, we'll probably take Terminal 3. I think that looks pretty suitable for an Airbus type plane, and it's pretty good as well. If we're landing on 1-2 right, we can vacate on Charlie 6 or Charlie 5, and then probably Charlie 5, maybe even Charlie 3. But we'd be quite easy then to get into Terminal 3. We'll probably take like stand 30 or something. I think there are remote stands, maybe. Because Terminal 2 has all the jetways. It doesn't actually say if any of them are like international or not international. It doesn't really matter. And then in terms of the ILS, then we'll just check that the aircraft's got it all in correctly. So you can see it's 110 decimal. Oh, okay. Have I got the wrong chart up? Oh, nope. I accidentally planned 12 left. That's why. We want 12 right. ILS 12 right. With the RIDUG transition. Insert that, and that'll refresh it. That was a bit of a mistake by me. That. Just forgetting what approach we were using. There we go, it's set it up now. Excellent. So now if we go to radio nav, you can see it's the ICUN ILS, which is correct, with 111.1. and 125 on the course. So that's all correct in there. I might have to put in the approach. Oh, I don't have to put in the approach stuff again. Good. Transition altitude is actually 18,000. Transition level, sorry, is 19,500 actually, not 20,000. Bit random, but okay. That's transition level, which is when you're descending. Transition altitude is when you're climbing, but the Airbus just says transition altitude, whether you're going up or down. Okay, that's cool. That's all in there. The decision height then is 220. That's the MDA. 220. And there we are. So that's everything in there ready for the arrival. We'll just check the restrictions. There's quite a few quite strict restrictions in Cancun in terms of the descent. So at NOSAT we need to be, I need to put this in actually. So we need to be, so you can see for Hacho it's put 18,000 minus flight level 200. So I'm going to put 220 minus 200. Is that correct? I hope that's correct. No, it'll be 22. Wait. So this one put. So for Hacho, it put 18,000. So this. So 20,000 minus 220. Is that going to be correct now? Okay, it doesn't look like I can actually put in. It doesn't look like I can put in altitude constraints like that. Maybe it's not minus, maybe it's a dash, although I can't see a dash on here. So yeah, that put, so they put, wait, what if I just do it, flight level 200, minus flight level 220, I'm putting in exactly how the aircraft has done it for others. No, it doesn't allow me to do it. That's a shame. I guess what I'll do then is we'll just set an exact one. Like, I don't know, it's a bit annoying. I would have wanted to put in the exact one. What if I put 200/220? No. That's really annoying. Why does it do that? I'll enter in now. How to enter altitude windows at waypoints. Flight factor A320. I'll see what it says. Okay, so apparently it doesn't simulate it properly. I don't know. So no one's really okay, apparently it has to be included. I don't know, this is for the FS Labs, but apparently it probably works the same in the flight factor. So if it's not included in the nav database, like the other waypoint, you can't put it in. So what we're going to do, I'm just going to go for the middle of the... Actually, no, I'm going to put in the maximum because I think there'll be no problem meeting that. It means we can descend a bit later, and it means that I can do that fine. And the speed is 280 knots, so we'll put that in as well. And it'll modify it for that. And you can see then Hacho, it obviously does have the restrictions incorrectly. And then Atmos, which is below 14,000. UN 500 is below, no, actually above 8,000. And then UN 522 is above 6,000. So you can see the plane's hitting it at 6,400. And then Erdam is at 3,000. Before that it's yeah, okay. Level 3000 at 3000 at Erdam and 200 knots at 3000 at Ridug. So the plane's got that all in there. You can see it's quite clumped together. I'll just zoom it in like that, and then onto the ILS then, which is 2000 at UN 540, but also 2000 at 506. So 2000, 2000, 1300 there. So everything's all in the arrival now, and our descent point is now on there. Cool. Everything is ready to go then for that arrival. Took a bit of planning, trying to get it correct, and then in the end discovering that you can't do that exactly. The new weather for Cancun hadn't come through yet, so we'll check that later. And we'll be descending in around about half an hour, so not too long actually, until we touch down. Well, no, not touch down, start descending. We'll be touching down in about an hour, so not bad. And then it'll be a bit of an unusual descent with all the restrictions. We're going to be descending about 150 miles from Cancun, which is probably slightly early. Normally, I'd expect more like 130 miles, maybe 125 miles out from the airport from this altitude. So, suggests we might have to have a bit of a slow descent for a little bit. Oh, it doesn't really matter, does it? We're all fine. The plane is okay with it. And there we are. That is it then. Go ahead and get this set up. Again, no planes heading for Cancun, so no need to report anything on Vatsim for now. I guess no one's really interested in flying around this part of the world right now, which does happen. Again, I don't know. You know, unfortunately, there's not much ATC in North America at this time of day. It's a shame because I like flying in North America. I think it offers really good. I quite like the. I like the amount of routes, the amount of airports there are. I like the procedures, like, you know, the arrivals and the departures tend to be a bit different. But you don't get ATC at this time of day. I mean, sometimes I have had ATC a bit, like when I was doing that video. It was afternoon time for me flying into Vancouver, and there was ATC, so it's not totally unheard of. It's just usually later in the day. In the morning, I think I've only ever had ATC once, early morning, and that was when Los Angeles Center was online for like the first half an hour of my stream, when we were flying from Los Angeles to Denver one time. But that was quite a while ago, and it was only basically a one-off that it was like that. Morning. Good. Just checking my audio is still working fine, obviously after the microphone being a bit glitchy this morning. Which was a bit annoying, but it doesn't matter, does it? We're all okay. So it's very dark. We're pretty close to Cuba, off to the left, but I can't really see it. Either it's not lit up or it's a little bit too far away. I mean, if you head outside, you can barely see our aircraft even with its lights on, like the strobes and the nav light and the logo light. Still can't see much. Just see the MetroAir. So that's what happens when it's dark. Can't see anything. So it won't be light by the time we get to Cancun. It will still be dark, sadly. I would like it if the sun was rising like a little bit.
The mother.
Right. 328 miles to go. 175 miles until we're descending in about 27 minutes. Is there any sign of lights like anywhere? Doesn't look like it. You can see if is that a star? I think that's a star. I don't think it'd be a plane. Just about past Kanoa, and there'll be a little left turn. Hopefully that'll speed us up a little bit. We'll just check the wind quickly, see how Explain Live weather is doing. So 259 at 58 is the wind at Kanoa, and we'll just have a little look, see how Explain Live weather is doing. And Explain Live weather, perfect. The speed is 2 knots out. The direction is 3 knots, 3 degrees out, which is perfectly reasonable. Obviously, I mean, it can be as much as probably 10 knots, 10 degrees out, and still be very decent. In terms of flight time, we're supposed to be passing it at 37 minutes in. We're passing it 35 minutes in, so we're a little bit early, which is good, a little bit ahead of schedule. We pushed back from the gate about 10 minutes early as well, so pretty nice. Next waypoint's about 130 miles away now. And then shortly after that next waypoint, that is 140 miles. We're descending shortly after that. If we'd done this flight the other way around, like Cancun to Fort Lauderdale, maybe it would have been a bit quicker. I don't know. The only reason I'm doing this flight this way round is because yesterday I did a return trip from Fort Lauderdale to Kingston and back, which was about the same length of flight as this. So there's quite a bit of, there's a lot of destinations actually that I think I'm going to do, at one point I'm going to do like a quick return trip stream, where we go from Fort Lauderdale to Key West and back. Because it's only about a 140-mile flight. It's a very short flight. It's it's 150 miles roughly. So I think we'll do that. So Fort Lauderdale, Key West, and back. So another one is Nassau. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm not totally sure, but that's quite a short hop as well from Fort Lauderdale. You can go Fort Lauderdale to Nassau. It's 160 miles in a 737. They do that, so pretty cool. I would also like to do some of the flights in the 75 out of Fort Lauderdale at some point as well. That would be absolutely perfect. If I have a quick look at what they do, there are flights to with the 75. There are flights. Oh, they do Quito. Quito, that'd be cool. Quito's got the one with the interesting approach, isn't it? Bogota as well. Port of Spain. That's only 1,400 miles. There are a few flights they do with the 75 that are a teeny bit shorter. I can't find any. I've got a saved search on Fly UK, so I'll search it now. There you go, Dallas. That's 2.5 hours. Tegucigalpa. Oh, that's the A320. That's a nice airport. I'd like to go. Oh yeah, Providenciales. That's also quite a short flight, only 500 miles. That's in the 757. So there's some cool flights there are. There's quite a lot to choose from. which I like. The one thing I have just noticed, I've been looking at Fly UK's like list of flights. Okay, that's weird. So, I was just looking at Fly UK's list of flights now, and it appears that some of the flights that go from Fort Lauderdale away, they don't do the flight. There isn't the return doesn't exist. That's weird. So you can go from Fort Lauderdale to Dallas in the 757, but you can't do the return. That's pretty weird, actually. I wonder why that is. So there's 18 flights, I think. But back, there's only 17. Yeah, so that's weird. The Dallas return is missing. So I'm going to report that now, actually, on Fly UK's forums. That's weird. Yeah, so I'll just mention that now, because it's not supposed to be missing. So I'm just going to mention it now. So it's a return leg of... It's Metro 437 that's missing. So yeah, it's Metro 438 that appears to be missing. Oh, actually no, never mind. Metro 438 does exist, but it's a different flight. That's odd. That goes from Baltimore to Dallas. Obviously there's a bit of a mistake there then, going on. So I'm just going to submit that. Hopefully it will... there. So hopefully that will be resolved. Yeah, I was just wondering because that will be quite... I don't know how long it is, the flight from... that was a weird one, yeah. It's just randomly missing for no apparent reason, but I was probably going to do it at some point maybe, because it is... yeah, it's 1,000 miles, which is pretty good for a 757 flight. Anyway, back to the flight we're actually doing today. I spent a bit of time talking about a flight I'm not doing today. We are descending in about 17 minutes, so not bad. It's gone pretty quickly. It's quite like these hour-and-a-half flights. They're nice. And to refresh the weather, we have got some new weather through for Cancun. The weather is now only scattered at 1,500, so the weather's got a little bit nicer. And the altimeter is now 29.84. And the rest of it is exactly the same. The wind's the same. It's still 26 degrees. And that came in about 20 minutes ago, that weather. So I don't think we'll have any more weather before landing. Because it was a bit delayed getting in, that weather. So even though it's from 20 minutes ago, it only came through more like 5-10 minutes ago. So not bad. Still very dark. Literally can't see anything in the cockpit. Completely dark. Well, maybe that might be Cuba over there. Those little bits of light. See, there's all the restrictions for the arrival plugged in there. Alright, under 100 miles into my descent now. We're basically already prepped though for descent, so I don't really need to do anything now. Set the tilt on the weather radar to -2 actually. I haven't done that yet. We'll just keep it on 0. I don't think there's any weather in the area. We'd see it, wouldn't we? But we'll just check for significant weather. Set it anyway. But there's no significant weather on today's flight, really. Actually, okay, there's a jet stream actually going against us. But that was at flight level 410. I guess that's why we're cruising quite low, is to avoid that jet stream. If we were going the other way, we'd probably try and get as close to 410 as we possibly could. But, I mean, this thing can't even go up to 410. I'm kind of surprised by that, really, because generally, like, Airbuses are a bit more technical than the Boeings quite often, but in terms of service ceiling, they can only go up to 39,000. Like, so they have all these automated systems and things, like, pretty much everything on this aircraft's automated, but it can only go up to 39,000 feet, and that's absolute maximum. Like, we're quite light today, and it can only go up to 38,000. So, actually, we're not that light. I think we're pretty heavy. Actually, we're pretty full. I mean, this flight was supposed to be fully with a Neo, so things like the passenger weights might be slightly out. Although SimBrief doesn't even know the existence of the A320 Neo. It still only gets programmed with the A320, which is what we planned today, because we haven't got the Neo. If you want the Neo in X-Plane, I think you have to get the JAR design A320 and then get a sound pack, like an engine. I think they do like an expansion, but so the Neo is the JAR design A320 is not as good. The flight factor is quite a lot better. So, from what I've heard, anyway, I've never tried the other one, but I can definitely say that this is a lovely plane. This one. We're approaching our next waypoint now, which is Mupkey. They have some funny names, some of these waypoints, don't they? And we'll be descending pretty soon. About 150 miles out of Cancun we'll be descending, roughly. which is probably a tiny bit earlier than I'd want to, but that's just because of... also, why is the temperature for our cruise? Why has that been deleted? Does that always happen? I've never noticed that before. It just deleting our cruise flight level. Cruise temperature, doesn't matter. Just a bit interesting. How dark it is. Just see those small little lights over there of Cuba. And that's literally it. Obviously, I think we'll get a bit lighter as we descend, obviously, because Cancun's right on the coast, so we won't see Mexico until we've already started descending quite a bit. I just spotted, did I have my, no. On my overlay, it's actually cut a tiny bit of the arrival and departure airports off. I will just change that now a minute. Sorry about that. So I'm just gonna update. I don't know why I've only just noticed this, but my yeah. So on the overlay, the airports weren't properly cropped, and it was missing some of the airport code. It's weird because I haven't edited my overlay, and it hasn't always been like that. Anyway, doesn't matter, it's fixed now. Good job I noticed it. Surprised I haven't noticed it yet. So it does now. It's now. Now I can see the overlay properly. I hope you guys like the overlay. I think it's quite nice overlay. I don't know. Maybe it's a little bit. I think it's alright. Also, for some reason, my stream is only available in 360p on YouTube's streamer preview. Actually, now I've refreshed the page, it is available in 1080. It's okay. It's alright. I won't run my stream in 1080 though. I'll only run it in like 480 maybe. And now YouTube's not letting me view my own stream. Interesting. I will just check, make sure the stream is accessible in those higher quality levels, because YouTube seems to have a problem with it. Yeah, it is accessible in 1080p. It's just literally just the live stream hub doesn't. It only goes up to 360p for some reason. It was like freaking me out then for a bit because I thought my stream wasn't available in 1080p. I'm like, what? No, it's okay. There's no planes in the area. We're the only plane currently heading for Fort Lauderdale right now. Right, 50 miles away from descent. Initial descent altitude, I'm actually just going to put it straight down to... what I'm going to do is put it straight down to 1,300, which is the ILS altitude, and hopefully the plane should tell me where it will stop its descent. If it doesn't do that, I will set it to the next restriction, but it should say, it should come up in purple when I activate descent later on. It won't happen now because I haven't activated descent, but when I activate descent, it should... Wait, why is it just going into descent? That was funny. Oh dear. By pressing on 34,000, I accidentally put the plane into descent mode. Even though I wasn't descending, it put the plane into descent mode. Why has it done that? That's an interesting one. How do I go back to cruise mode now? Can I just not? Oh, there you go. I've just re-enabled cruise mode by putting in our cruise altitude. That's a weird one. Yeah, now when I'm doing it, it's not putting it. Okay, it does put in. So when you go off the altitude and then back on and activate it again, it deletes cruise altitude. Right, 35 miles to descent. Not far to go. It's been a very chill flight, really, so far. Obviously, no traffic in the area, just kind of enjoying the flight. I like flights that are this length. I mean, if we were doing a flight that was 900 miles, we wouldn't even be halfway through, but because it's only, 550... It's a bit more suitable for streaming, I think, doing a flight that's kind of this length. It works better. So there's no sat there. So that's why we're just saying a bit earlier. So given the other restrictions we have on our arrival, before I put anything in at NOSAT, it said we were going to be there at 26,000, so we're forcing it to be about 4,000 feet lower. But that's not too bad, 4,000 feet. When I was arriving at Fort Lauderdale from Kingston, I had to descend really early and then hold at about 6,000 for ages, because it wasn't even a restriction, it was an expect 6,000 on the start. So just in case any ATC showed up, I thought it'd be a good idea to respect that. Although obviously, I mean, even though it was the afternoon for me, obviously there was no ATC, so we don't really get ATC in the US an awful lot. Unless, I mean, if you fly at US time, it is quite busy. It's just that's not the time that I fly. Right, 17 miles to descend, and go ahead and put in the altitude. I'm going to put in 1800 for now, and if it ends up that we need to be a bit higher than that, otherwise it won't follow the path I've set, then I'll do that. Right, getting ready to descend now. 10 miles. So I get all the arrival charts are already pinned, but I'll just get them up on my other monitor so I can see them. In terms of order brakes, we're going to be using order brakes. Well, I actually want to stop quite soon for those fast exit taxiways, Charlie 5, so I'll put it onto medium. I have been using medium previously. As long as you don't, as long as I'm quite careful on the brakes after using the auto brakes, I can get away with not overheating the brakes, so we'll do that. I'll try for a pretty smooth landing. I've been a little bit hit and miss with the Airbus. Sometimes it's been a pretty good landing, other times it's been a little bit rough. I think it's starting to get a bit lighter now, or maybe that's all the clouds in the area making it look lighter, you know, providing some scenery outside. You know it's dark when clouds are like scenery. The most scenery you're going to get is a cloud. Alright. Anyway. Three miles to go. We're going to go ahead and... Well, we're about 1 mile away from the start of our descent. I'm going to go ahead and enable the descent, and then that will allow the plane to start a 1,000 feet per minute descent just before it actually needs to descend. There we are. It's in descent mode, and you can see at the moment the aircraft's limited itself to flight level 30. So that means I'm going to have to set it to 18,000, which is where we need to be above Hatcho. That's what our initial descent will be. And then we will have to be 280 knots at NOSAT, and then 250 at Hatcho. I mean, 280 at NOSAT might actually be a slight speed up. I don't know. It'll be basically the same speed, I think, as we were going to do anyway. Really. You can see there the speed's starting to creep up as we descend, actually. Really, I think the plane should actually be using a bit of a steeper descent now. We're actually losing the descent path a little bit there. Oh, we're okay. Usually it would do a slightly quicker descent than this, but 2,000 feet per minute is fine. A bit more than that, actually, 2,300 feet per minute. We need to make sure we're at 22,000 at NOSAT. And yeah, nothing is heading into Cancun, so we've got the airport to ourselves. That's kind of nice, I guess. Well, I put us down to 40 nautical mile range so I can see a bit more of what we're doing. That's the waypoint to get a bit more clumped together as we get closer to the airport. Right, just have a quick check of our arrival. It's always a flaps full arrival in the Airbus. Approach speed is 139. That will be set automatically by the plane when we enable auto throttle on the landing. I'll be using manual throttle, probably not manual throttle, but like manual speed for the last bit of the approach. Or they're saying that given that the approach actually has speed restrictions built in, say 220 knots, 200 knots, maybe I'll just use those. I won't need manual speed settings. And then it'll probably be a bit of a slow descent then between NOSAT and Hatcho to meet the restrictions at both waypoints. And remember, when we pass 19,500, that's when we need to set the altimeter, which is 2984. So we're descending towards these clouds now. There is a little bit of cloud in Cancun. It's only 7 miles visibility out of a maximum of 10 plus. So 7. I mean, 7's still pretty decent. That should be fine. And it's scattered 1,500. So maybe on the last bit of the approach we'll be breaking out the cloud. But again, it's only scattered. It was broken earlier, which means it's quite thick. But scattered is a bit less thick. Because I think the scale goes no cloud, then few, then scattered, then broken, then overcast. I think that's the scale. Is this actually going to meet flight level 220 at no sat? It looks like it's going to be a bit close. Because we're only 8 miles away. And we're basically doing 280 knots anyway. It's also max 280 knots, not at 280 knots, so it's if it's slightly below it, it's fine. It's above it we don't want to be. Yeah, we should be pretty good, I think. Maybe I should have set 21,000 at this waypoint, just so the aircraft has enough time to, like, properly meet the restriction. I think we'll be okay. It would have just planned... This aircraft would have just planned it to the absolute last minute to do this descent, because obviously it's probably going to be quite a slow descent after this to Hatcho. But we're okay. It's at 280 knots. It's under 280 knots, fine. So that isn't a problem. And we are at 22,000, look, okay. And then we're probably going to do a bit of a slower descent now for this next bit, because we only have 25 miles and we've got to be... We're basically stuck at this now. Doing this slow kind of descent. So this thing is just going to start doing, look at that, 500 feet per minute. It will, I think it will speed up eventually, it's just how it wants to be doing it. It doesn't matter though, we're alright with it. It's maintaining about 270 knots, which is fine. We do need to slow down for Hatcho a little bit. Down to 250 knots it'll be. May as well turn the seatbelt signs on now, I guess. You know, just make sure everyone's sat down, ready, why not? No real, they don't need to be, well, like being sat down's okay. Right, we'll go ahead and sort of tilt to 0 at this altitude. That's good now. Right, 105 miles to go until our descent. Not descent, until arrival. So not too far to go actually, about 25 minutes. And at the moment we're just doing a very, very slow descent because of all these restrictions at these waypoints that the plane wants to follow. We'll be slowing down at that little pink dot. It looks like this plane is easily going to be above 18,000 at Hatcho, so I'll set it to the next restriction, which is at 3,000. But that one was obviously being followed by the plane, so we're going to set 1,800 feet, and you can see 3,000 is where it's going to level off at next. And we're good for that. And then obviously 19,500 is the altitude where we're going to be setting the transit, the local pressure in Cancun, which is 2984. Pretty good, this stream, as well. We've had 34 playbacks, that's clicks on the video. I think maybe my click would have counted. I don't think me refreshing the live stream homepage would have counted, though. I don't know, I mean, because that's the live stream homepage. It's not an actual viewer. It's not viewing it, it's hosting it. It's not hosting it, it's just previewing it? I don't know. Whatever. Doesn't matter. I only refreshed it about 3 times anyway. 4 maybe. There we go. So the plane's now made its mind up to start descending a tiny bit more. It's now going to have to slow down to 250 knots, so it's going to idle the power. And you can see there, even without the input of speed brakes, this thing is slowing down absolutely fine. See the Mach number tumbling there? That means we're slowing down. Down to 250 knots, and then we'll continue our descent then. So obviously I've flown into Cancun before with the 7.5. I went from Denver to Cancun, and I did the Vomar 1 Alpha, which is, it's on the same chart as the one I'm looking at right now with this star. And there's loads of restrictions on them. They're like altitude restrictions. I don't know why. Must just be how they do it at this airport. Doesn't matter though. Alright, I don't know how steep of a descent we're going to be doing now. Probably slightly steeper than previously. Although it's still not that steep. What's it, 1,300 feet per minute? That's not bad. That's pretty nice, 1,400 feet per minute. So it's quite a decent level of descent. There's 19,500. We're going to go ahead and set 2984 in there. So very high transition altitude, that actually. Probably the highest transition altitude I've ever had. I mean, like 19,500 feet. Like, it's pretty high up. So we're going into Mexico, so it's not the same rules as the US. It is slightly different. That's why it's not 18,000. It was actually quite weird when I was flying from Kingston. If I was flying from Fort Lauderdale to Kingston yesterday, and in Kingston, it's in Jamaica, they use Barrow, like QNH, rather than altimeter. So they like 1011, 1012, like in the UK or Europe. So it's weird. Like, so I had to take off on one setting and land with another. You have to change it mid-flight. It's kind of interesting. Not usually something you have to do. Right, 82 miles to go. So we're doing pretty well. We're doing about 300 knots ground speed because the tailwind has died off quite a bit, which is kind of nice. I mean, I'm going a bit slower than I would have liked, but that's because of the speed restriction to be below 250 knots on this point. Atmos, we've got to be below 14,000. I think the plane should make that okay. And it's not even a restriction that changes how this plane does its route, look, because we're going to be hitting it at 13,300 apparently. And we're actually approaching the clouds now, so we'll be getting a bit, maybe we'll see the ground for a little bit. I don't know how thick these clouds are. I don't think they're that thick. I think they're okay. If the weather in Cancun comes through quite soon, like the 9:48 Zulu weather, that'll be coming through about 9 minutes. But then obviously after that 9 minutes there is like a delay. So I don't think we'll get to see what that weather is before we land. We'll probably see it like after we've touched down maybe. It'll come through. By which point we may as well leave it. There we are, passing 15,000. You can see there's the lights of Cancun down there, and pretty cloudy. I mean, Cancun's typically quite a holiday resort, and so there's a lot of holidays and things. Although I don't think many people will be catching a holiday flight in the US. What is? I mean, right now in Cancun, it's what, 4:30? I think it's 20 to 5 in the morning, so it's pretty early. Pretty early. Although the US does have some early flights, but I think they're typically more domestic. Like, you can get like flights that take off at like 1 AM and land at 3 AM or something. It's a bit more unusual, that. But I don't think many other countries have that. And you can see we're safely below 14,000 atmos, no problem. We've got to be slowing down to 220 knots for this next waypoint, so we're going to be going really slowly. And we're still 70 miles out from the airport. So we've still got a way to go. There is the airport, in fact. Obviously, we're going to be flying basically straight over to it, and then we're going to make a right turn. And then basically like a traffic pattern. A right turn, then a left turn, another left turn, onto final. It'll be, from our final left turn, it will be about 20 miles to the airport. It'll be roughly, it'll be just under 20 DME from Cancun VOR on 113.6. So we may as well get that tuned in actually on our radios. So that means we'll be able to see exactly how close we are to the airport at all times, which is quite nice. There's the airport, look, passing 12,000 feet now, so the line lights will be coming on pretty soon. And we're needing to slow down for the airport. We've got to make sure we're above 8,000 at this next waypoint. And we'll be slowing down to just 220 knots. It's so slow. I don't know, it just sounds slow. I mean, it's still not slow. I mean, it's like, it's more than 200 miles an hour. It's, I mean, it's 220 nautical miles an hour, which I think is about, yeah, it's 253 miles an hour. It's not exactly slow, is it? Right, passing 11,000, so, you know, in preparation for 10,000, we'll go ahead and turn on the landing lights. To show that we're landing, I guess. And you can see the clouds are pretty scattered, they're not really, there's not really that many of them. It's enough that we can still see the airport quite easily, which is nice. Right, plane's going to be slowing down to about 220 knots now, I think. Well, it hasn't yet started that. Oh, there you go, it's just moved, in fact. I think the other descent point that was there was for 10,000 feet, but that wasn't needed because we were already going quite slowly. Right, only 56 miles to go now, actually. To get close to the airport, like, I don't know, the last kind of 20-30 miles between 80 and about 50, they tend to go very quickly, and then you're properly close to the airport then. And then we'll just make sure that the plane's following all the restrictions it needs to properly. So obviously above 8,000, that's why I put the constraints up on here, so we can see exactly what we need at each waypoint, without the need of looking at the chart all the time. See, there's the airport there, look. So we've still got a view on it. It's good. 52 miles now, so not too far. We're 11 miles out from the airport. There, as you can see, we've now hit 8,000 and this thing's just holding here, so we can slow down. This plane's now hit 220 knots, so we're pretty much holding there. And then making our right turn, so this is like this is basically entering the traffic pattern now to go right. I think it's right downwind, and then we're making a base turn, and then on final. If I know I don't know my traffic patterns that well, but so the bit I struggle with is what's upwind and what's downwind. Although I think this is downwind because we're being pushed by the wind is behind us, so that's downwind. Yeah. The first time on this flight we'll be getting a tailwind. I think we might have had a small tailwind out of Fort Lauderdale, possibly. Is that how you pronounce it, Fort Lauderdale? That's how I've been saying it constantly, but I don't actually know if that's exactly how you pronounce it or not. See, there is the airport there. We'll be parking somewhere around there, in those stands there. So above 6,000 at this waypoint, that's no problem, and above 5,000 at the next one. Just 43 miles to touchdown now. You can see we're actually about 6 miles away from the airfield, so we're pretty close to it, because the Cancun VOR is pretty much, I think it's slightly to the south, slightly to the southeast of the runways, the VOR. Yeah, the VOR is literally right by the end of runway 30 left, so that's basically to the end of the runway that we're landing on, the distance. So it's a pretty handy distance to have, you know, on there. That's why I tuned in that VOR. It's just useful to have, isn't it? Really. Oh, going to some clouds now, I think. We're about to. Get the landing system active on here so we can see the DME to the actual ILS itself as well. Well, we won't be starting the approach just yet. Still quite a while on this kind of downwind leg and then left turn and then on to final. Obviously I could make it a bit shorter by cutting out UN 506 and RIDUG. That's what they do in real life, like in Dubai. That's why there's, when I've done events into there, they have a similar pattern to this and they generally cut it short. But with no ATC around, it's always a good idea just to follow the full thing. Follow the whole procedure. Go around altitude, by the way, is 3,000 feet, so that's what we'll set once we're established on the islet, on the localizer and the glide slope. Only once we're established on the glide slope, though, otherwise the plane will start to climb again. We're actually slightly off our descent pattern there a little bit. I don't know why, because I don't think this thing is having issue maintaining this. I'll go when I throw out the speed brakes. Look, it does start a bit more of a quick descent, so we'll do that just to make sure that it can catch back up with its planned approach. You can see going into the clouds now, so although they are already scattered, so we can't really see, you know, we can still see quite a bit. We're only in and out of the clouds. We're not really going to be in the cloud for a long period of time, I don't think, at any point. I'm going to go ahead and arm the speed brakes now, because I don't think, what on earth? I hate that X-plane when you like, it doesn't click off the thing that you're using with the mouse, and then you move the mouse and it moves the thing you just used. Right. Now the plane is at 3,000, we're going to be here for a little bit now, until we can make that left turn. Right. 29 miles to the runway now, so pretty close down to landing. What I'm going to do now is basically take a direct UN 540, because we can do that quite easily. In fact, the actual ILS procedure doesn't start until UN 540. The other bit is part of the RIDUG transition. And, okay, for some reason this thing thought that meant that all of the speed restrictions were cancelled. I don't know why it thought that. We should have gone manual speed earlier, probably. I'll do that now. I'll go to 200 knots. That's a bit weird. Don't know why the plane did that. We thought, yes, we're free now, we can start climbing. No, that's not how it works. I'm going to go flaps 1. So yeah, just cutting a little bit of the ILS out, it saves us a bit of time. I haven't actually intercepted the ILS just yet, but we should get it soon. So you can see also what this does as well is puts us on quite a good intercepting heading. Like if we had ATC vectors, they would provide us basically with a nice, quite a subtle turn onto the ILS, rather than that transition that was basically a 90-degree turn. So it's always better to have a more subtle turn onto the ILS, so partially the reason I did it as well. And of course it does cut a bit of distance out, although there you go, you can see there's the localizer, look, so we have picked it up.
2,500.
So just about passed through one of the clouds. There's the airport there. We're landing on 1-2 right, so it'll be the right runway out of those two that we can see there. They generally don't use the other runway in Cancun that much. At least when I was looking on flight radar previously, it's about 2,300 feet shorter than the other runway. So I think, and it's on the opposite side to the terminals, apart from Terminal 4, I guess. Although it depends on which. If they're landing on the 3-0s, it's quite close to Terminal 4. But if they're landing on the 1-2s, it's you could taxi around the entire airport. So I don't think they use it very much, that runway, compared to the others. Right, we're on the localizer, but we're gonna have to wait to the glide slope before I'm going to go down to 180 knots now as well. But yeah, I'm gonna have to wait till the localizer to do anything else. No, the glide slope. We're gonna have to wait for before we can descend a bit more. Down to, it's actually 1,300 feet. Although weirdly, this plane is still saying we're limited to 2,000, which is a bit weird because we're not. Oh, okay. For some reason that. Oh, I guess we're just waiting for the glide slope to come in now. Then are we? In which case, I'll set this to 1,000 and then 2,000, and then we'll wait. It's fine like that. Go flaps 2. We're still 9 miles out at the moment, so we're not going to be descending just yet. Oh, a bit of cloud there. That must be our lights reflecting back at us while we're in the cloud. It's only scattered cloud, so it shouldn't be too thick. We're passing through some more cloud now. You can see it all moving. It's very dark, so we don't really see much colour in the clouds or anything. Right, down to 160 knots now. Just before we intercept the glide slope. We're 8 miles out now, so not too far to go. Hopefully it'll be a decent landing. That's what I'm hoping for. Just before we intercept the glide. Excellent. Our audio is still doing good. After earlier, obviously, I'm checking it constantly now. Right. We're on the glide slope now then. So as soon as the plane starts descending, I'm going to go ahead. So once that little star on the glide slope goes, and that means we're actually following it. There. Look. So we've got it. So we're going to set 3,000 in there now, which is our go-around altitude. And I'm going to go ahead and drop the gear and go to flaps full. And that means I can go final approach speed. Although I can't take control of the plane until I can actually see the runway. And in this thing, the auto throttles are actually handled until touchdown, so that's something. But yeah, considering there's any scattered cloud, I'm surprised we can't already see the runway. Like, I think we're just under it now. Oh, I missed the little moment the runway appeared because we were outside looking. Because I noticed it went black, which implied we weren't in a cloud, but I couldn't see anything. Right. There you go. Autopilot is disconnected. Don't really need to actually move anything now on the yoke for a little bit, because with a joystick, with the Airbus, it basically just holds the controls in the last position they were in.
1,000.
Which is nice. That's why I like flying the Airbus. I do love how an Airbus flies. I think they fly nicer than the Boeings. Maybe that's just me. They fly much more calmly, I guess. Calmer? You know, like I don't need to do as much. And obviously with the nice auto throttle as well. It's Airbus automation. You see, there's the airport. Pappy lights are 2 white, 2 red, which is good. I'm just gonna start pitching the plane up a bit more.
Right.
There's the confirmation that we are approaching the correct runway. Obviously that helps. Flight time is supposed to be 1 hour and 28 minutes today. So we're pretty much bang on with that.
500.
Tiny bit high now, so we'll just go ahead and... So I don't want to be too low. It does happen to me where I'm too high in an Airbus and then I end up being too low.
100 above. 300.
This is where the Pappy lights start to become ineffective now because we're a bit too low.
200.
We're on the glide slope now. Oh, the runway, the touchdown marks are quite close to the start of the runway.
50. 40. 30. 20. Retard. Retard. 10. 5.
There you go, minus 270, that's pretty decent. Reverse is out. 80 knots, reverse is retracted. 60 knots, manual braking. I don't think... Oh, we're going to make... Okay, we've missed Charlie 6, we're going to go to Charlie 5. And there we are. Stop the clock there. Decent landing. 270 feet per minute, I'll take that. And there we are. Hello and welcome everyone to Cancun. Very decent landing. We're going to taxi into Terminal 3 via Bravo 6, and then we'll just take stand 29, which is the one that dumps us. Actually, we'll take Bravo 5. We'll take Bravo 5. No, I want to take Bravo 6 if I can find it. There. Right. APU on. Taxi lights, main lights off, and then, yeah, this is Bravo 6 here, actually. So we're going to go Bravo 6, and then we're basically just going to go straight ahead into stand 29er. It's the stand that's straight ahead of us, so it's not going to... No problem. Hope you enjoyed the stream. Right, Bravo 6, and we should see a stand pretty much ahead of us. There it is, stand 29er. I'm going to go ahead and start the APU now. It won't really have time to start up, I'm not sure. We'll have to wait for it before we power down the engines. Okay, there's 2 taxi lane marks here. I don't know which ones to use. I guess we'll use the one that goes up to stand 29er. I can't actually see where the wheels are totally, so we can't really park exactly on that. We'll go ahead and disarm the speed brakes, and we'll put back the flaps as well. And there we go. Go ahead and idle the power, and we'll just bring it to a stop about here. Parking brakes are set. We can turn off the taxi lights, but before okay, the APU is available, so we can turn off the engines. We'll turn off the weather radar now as well. Right, engine 1 can turn off now as well. That's just the airplane flicking over. And make sure this is in stair mode. Actually, no, these want to still be in gate mode. So ground handling. and we want... Actually, first of all, make sure that the ground power unit and the chocks are set. We won't turn off the parking brake, because otherwise the ground crew won't work. Right, we're on external power. APU can come off. Beacon light can come off now, and then we're going to go ahead and get all the ground crew set up. There we are. And drive up. And we'll wait for Jar Design's handling to kick in. And then we'll go ahead and open all the doors. I love this ground handling mod. I think it's pretty good. It's only $15 as well, which is not bad on the explain.org store. Right, now I'm going to go back to the 1 position now. Fuel pumps can come off. Guess we can turn off the gens and the packs now, because they say fault on them, so we can just turn them off. Right, the stairs are up now, where passenger buses aren't quite here yet. Actually, never mind, they are here. So let's go ahead and open the doors. We'll open the catering truck doors. Now, there is a bit of a weird bug sometimes where they still load in with stairs, the doors, even though it says gate. They haven't done that this time. They did it to me on the flight I did yesterday. So even though it says stairs here, they still spawned in... No, even though it says gate here, they still spawned in with stairs. And I had to reset it, and then it was fine. But there we are. That is all the ground crew. That's all of the doors open and everything loading. There doesn't seem to be weighing. Obviously, I know that the baggage loaders are duplicated. I can't do anything about that. You can't open the cargo doors in this aircraft without spawning that in. And I know, but I would like it if Jar Design handling had a way to unload baggage. It always loads the baggage. It never unloads it. Right, the passenger bags are parked, so we can go ahead and turn off the seatbelt signs. Turn off all the things that were off when we loaded in, I guess, to the plane, cold and dark. And that's about it. That's everything done. Let's go outside and have a quick look. There is actually a free camera I discovered in X-Plane. Let's go how to use it. It's the C key. Press the C key and you get a free camera. I honestly didn't know how to use that. I knew X-Plane had one, but I thought it was like a mod or something. But I looked at the controls and I was like, oh, just press the C key. And obviously the plane's actually quite lit up here because the sun is slowly starting to come up, I think. And obviously all the ground crew lights and stuff help. So I'll go ahead and disconnect ourselves from Vatsim. Stop recording on Fly UK. 533 miles we flew in the end today. And that was pretty good. And block time today was... I should have checked it before setting the flight off rather than checking now. The block time was 1 hour 42 minutes. So pretty good. Happy with that. And time in the air was just 1 minute longer than planned. So pretty decent. There you go. I hope everyone enjoyed the flight today then. That was pretty nice. I'll just leave it on this this view. So instead of having... There you go. Perfect. There you go. Hope everyone enjoyed the stream today then. And hope to see you in the next one. Tomorrow morning is the next stream. 9 AM BST. We're going, take me Zebo 737-800 from Gatwick down to Leipzig. So that should be good. Hope everyone enjoyed this one. Hope to see you in the next stream. And I'll leave you with the background music and the end screen. Bye-bye.